Hi, everyone. I'm Charlene Shirk, and welcome to Advertising Champions, where we speak to some of the most innovative thinkers in the advertising space. And joining us today is Joe Catania with Catania Media Consultants and Kim McCumber with Floodlight Training and Consulting. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us today on Advertising Champions.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Joe, let's start with you. Tell us what you do over there at Catania Media Consultants.
Yeah, I am the CEO and founder of Catania Media Consultants. To give you a little backstory, I am also the CFO of a law firm in Tampa, and been there for almost 20 years. Also the marketing director, and over the 20 years, I've been able to grow that company exponentially to one of the largest PI firms in Tampa, Florida. So back in 2019, I opened up Catania Media, and I said, okay, I can do the same thing for other law firms and other medical companies. And that's how I got started. So it all is working well, and it gives me a lot of pleasure to help small companies, medium-sized companies, grow their business, get more phone calls, drive more traffic to their website. So I think today what we're going to talk about with Kim is everything digital, and I know he specializes in pay-per-click, so I'm very interested to see how he runs his business, and we'll talk about other strategies as well.
All right. Well, Kim, let's bring you into the conversation. Let's talk about what you do over there at Floodlight Training and Consulting.
Sure. So I am a scientist turned digital marketer focused on the pay-per-click space, working primarily with small businesses in the service space. A lot of experience working, especially with nanny agencies and with law firms.
All right. Well, you both have that law firm background. So, Kim, I'm going to go back to you. Let's talk about the pay-per-click space. There's some folks say, oh, it's not worth the money. Some folks say, no, absolutely. It's the best way to stretch your dollar. But we all know that everything is going up. The cost of everything is going up. So give us the latest on pay-per-click and its value. And if you are going to use it, where should it play a role in your overall marketing strategy?
So I'm admittedly biased, but I'll say that Google Ads, as long as you are watching your numbers and keeping track of your metrics and the efficiency of your program, it can be a really great way to get exposure, especially quick exposure when you're first getting started in marketing. But of course, you are always paying for that media, and as a result, you want to make sure that you're tracking the return that you get on that investment.
And Joe, when you were, you mentioned that one of your areas of focus has been law firms. Was pay-per-click part of your strategy? And I know that when you've got law firms, there's the Bar Association. You've got to deal with approvals with advertising. There are so many rules of things you cannot do. How did you use pay-per-click? And then how did you also deal with your strategy when you've got so many limitations on it?
Right. Well, I mean, pay-per-click can be effective. In the law realm in Tampa, Florida, for example, it's very competitive. And the top advertisers are spending 50 grand, 100 grand plus per month on pay-per-click. Now, historically speaking, pay-per-click isn't the most cost-efficient way to advertise, but if it's done properly and properly targeted, it can be effective. But what you want to do is spend enough money in the right places so you get more calls, you get more traffic to your website, and some will turn into conversions and clients eventually. But it's a tricky one to do for sure.
Now, pay-per-click has been around for a while. Everybody's familiar with the pay-per-click strategy and the format. But Kim, one of the things that is really trending is towards streaming television, this CTV. Talk to us a little bit about the value, how you can stretch your dollar with that, and the effectiveness. Because, at the end of the day, it's all about ROI. What's bringing us in the leads and what's converting those leads into sales?
Sure, absolutely. So the nice thing with CTV is that it brings sort of set-top advertising to advertisers that previously may not have had access to it. Working with small businesses, a lot of them would have never really thought of anything in terms of streaming media or basically television-style media as part of their advertising strategy. But now you've got self-service options, you've got managed options to really get you in front of eyes in more of a mass media. And that's really powerful. And now with that increased accessibility, you see a lot more small businesses that are leveraging platforms like CTV.
Because you can't get around commercials on streaming channels unless you just leave the room. You can't get around it. And Joe, I think CTV for me has been I literally was watching a Today Show commercial, or Today Show, the pick of the day, the deal of the day, and I was able to use my phone to click on the deal. Within 2 clicks, PayPal, I was purchased. So clearly it turned me into a lead and a conversion in 30 seconds. It was for one of those cool pillows. So talk to me a little bit about how you could use CTV for a law firm.
Right. Well, to me, CTV or streaming video is a no-brainer. I would say the majority of my clients have a percentage of their budget in streaming video. And the beauty about this is that it's a digital format. So everything can be analyzed and everything can be optimized on a month-to-month basis to make sure you're using your money efficiently. But once again, what's nice about streaming video is that you can set up your potential client profile and have your commercials served up to that profile of people that are watching programming on CTV. So, and because we get access to their IP address, it then moves on to other devices that are held by other folks in that household. So it's a wave of the future, and 10 years from now, it'll probably be the dominant medium, for most advertisers.
All right, so we've talked about what's trending, new opportunities out there, what's old is new again. Let's talk about some of the challenges that we're facing as advertisers and marketers. Kim, I know with a lot of privacy issues, a lot of third-party data, the cookie apocalypse that they're calling it. Talk to me a little bit about how you're able to track who your customer is if there's going to start being privacy limitations on really getting that data about who your customer is.
Sure. So privacy is definitely a huge conversation, regardless of where you are in the digital space. And there's a few different things that we really do to tackle it. So from the search engines and from the technology perspective, we're starting to use a lot of modeling, a lot of machine learning, and artificial intelligence to help us understand, even if we can't directly measure the individual, are they very likely to have been somebody who converted as part of our program? So we definitely have some measurement tools that are trying to meet that challenge of increased privacy. But I do think there is a bit of a shift towards more direct response style advertising in the digital space, where we're not so reliant on being able to track that individual over time and across platforms, as we do see privacy, abandoning cookies in some ways. As we see those changes happening, I think that direct response becomes a little bit more important.
And Joe, what are your thoughts on that, and particularly privacy when working with law firms? I mean, that's just, confidentiality is such a big deal in your industry.
Yeah, and things are getting more difficult there, and a lot of these ads now are starting to get blocked. A lot of customers or people that surf the net now have various apps they can use to block ads. So it's getting more challenging of trying to get that ad, a targeted ad, in front of your potential client. And I think that's something that we're just have to deal with as advertisers down the road, because it's not going away. So
and Joe,
there are the ways to get around it.
Things about on that segue into the next question. One of the things about advertising and digital and marketing is that the one constant is that there's always changes within the industry. Privacy being one of them. What are some of the other changes, Joe, that you see coming up on the landscape that you're keeping an eye on, that you're making sure your agency is acting proactively versus reactively?
Right. Well, I mean, first and foremost, you've got to have a webmaster, that's taking care of your website, because Google, they do anywhere from, 6 to maybe 10 algorithm changes every year. And if you don't have someone in front of that, you could go from being on that first page under a keyword or phrase and all of a sudden be on the 10th page. So always being in front of the algorithms when they come out are really important, having a webmaster manage your site as such. In terms of changes, other than that, there's a privacy issues, but other than that, just everything that we do right now in the digital realm is just evolving, to the next level. And like I said, I think going forward, there's so many tactics out there like geofencing and paid ads, but really the streaming video is the place to be and the place that's changing the most. And I think once again will be dominant, down the road.
All right, Kim, let's bring in your thoughts. What do you got your eye on?
So where I'm really focused right now is trying to maximize and leverage the traffic that you acquire, whether it is through streaming media or through something like pay-per-click advertising. Once you have a visitor on your website, a potential customer on your site, I think it's becoming increasingly important to look at the cross-channel opportunities. So how can you get their email address? How can you continue to market to them over time so that once they've left your website, you're not necessarily out of mind for that potential customer.
All right. Well, Kim, thank you so much for joining us. Joe, thank you so much for lending a hand and being a guest host with us today on Advertising Champions. We hope you both have a wonderful day, and thanks so much for joining your insight with us. Well, that's going to do it for us today on this episode of Advertising Champions. I'm Charlene Shirk, and if you'd like to learn more about what Kim McCumber is doing over there at Floodlight Training and Consulting, and Joe is doing at Catania Media Consultants, we encourage you to check them out on dailyadbrief.com. Well, that's going to do it for us, and we look forward to learning something new with you next time.
Simplify presents Addressable CTV, combining the power of TV with the targeting and attribution of digital. Simplify's Addressable CTV delivers massive reach with the ability to scale without sacrificing precision. TV buyers can generate incremental reach with household-level targeting, frequency controls, reporting, and insights. To learn more about Simplify's Addressable CTV and what it can do for your clients, visit simply.fi.